Oh, hello there. Yes. Well, good grief. That was nail biting, wasn't it? Yes. Well, in the sense of biting your nails because there's nothing else to do, yes. Anyway, yes, the final two to go forward to be leader of the Conservative Party. It's Robert or Kemi or Badenoch or Jenrick. Yes. Yes, two intrinsically quite deeply unlikable human beings. You might well like their politics. I'm not quite sure who does, but I guess there's someone out there. They both come from that very narrow Tufton Street, evangelical American Christian kind of culture war. GB News, we love them. She's probably going to be a bit like, he's probably going to be a bit like Liz Truss style modern conservatism, which intrinsically doesn't really bother with any notion of broad church in terms of a party. That's fine. I can see either of them disappearing up something or other into obscurity. It means that British politics will become a lot more divisive and nasty, and the huge propaganda machine there is around the Conservative Party will become even more vitriolic. Ho-hum, yes. So, we'll wait and see about that. Geriatric Tories on the south coast in Eastbourne or Bexhill or wherever they might be, I don't know. I reckon they probably will choose Jenrick. I've been saying this for a very long period of time because Kemi is just, I don't know, there's just something deeply unpleasant about him. You can't really hide it. I mean, Jenrick's not very much better, but it's only just. And I was thinking the other day just generally about politicians and the whole notion of how intrinsically false they are, right, in terms of them being marionettes. And the perfect analogy for all of them, and I include the Labour Party naturally, is Joe 90. Yes, for those of you of a certain age, one of the lesser Gerry Anderson titles, but it's centred around a 9-year-old who with freckles and glasses, who was could be programmed to do any job you wanted. They were generic child that was supposed to be reasonably likeable, except of course 9-year-olds in terms of TV programs are always just blank slates, and they could be anything you wanted. And it's probably a perfect example of our politicians who are just blank slates, and they can be a lawyer or a journalist or whatever they may be, a SPAD or a PPE person or whatever it is, and they will then become a commentator on GB News, or they will come and set up their own Tufton Street advisory service, or they will go and work for somebody somewhere for Tony Blair. They can just be anything that you want them to be because they are all equally bland. But the problem with it, of course, is the reason why Joe 90 wasn't a hit was that nobody really who was that age, and I was that age when that show came out, about 7 or 8, wanted to identify with a specky, freckled 9-year-old. Nobody wants to be these people. Nobody wants to be spending any time in the glorious company of Keir Starmer. Nobody wants to be spending a quality time with Robert Jenrick. I mean, a man who, metaphorically or otherwise, just always seemed to be on the cusp of torturing a cat. Yeah. Deeply unlikable human beings that appear to have no moral compass whatsoever, or at least their moral compass is certainly parked next to a magnet. Yes, and marionettes. That's all they are, and they are inflicted upon us, the glorious British public. It would be nice to see both of the Tory party candidates basically getting their well-deserved obscurity. But if Ian Duncan Smith and others are anything to go by, we're going to be stuck with them for year after year after year. Meanwhile, of course, the machine will grind on in the same way as it grinds on top of us. So we can expect to be more and more miserable whilst they become more and more powerful. Such is the nature of our glorious democracy. More power to someone's elbow, but hopefully not theirs. Anyway, as ever, a plague upon all of their strings.